Greetings, viewers. This is A Vision Entertainment. Once again, I am your host, Tommy Slaughter. We have another special show and a special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a true pioneer who redefined what it means to be a powerhouse in the entertainment industry. He first took the world by storm in 1997 with the Billboard charting anthem, The Theme is Party Time. Please welcome the man who proves brilliance has no limits, the one and only Tracey Lee Esquire. Peace, brother. How you feeling, man?
I'm fantastic, man. Never better, man. How about yourself, bro?
I'm good. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Woke up this morning, got my wifey. I'm just chilling, man.
That's it, bro. Life is simple. Like the older you get, the simpler life gets. You dig?
That's right. And you want to relax more and be out the way more.
That's right.
The last time we saw each other, I don't know if you remember this. We was at the Boardwalk Hall backstage.
Yeah.
Doing an interview, and you had a plate of food in your hand, and we was talking about you becoming a lawyer and all that. Yep, remember that?
Yep, I sure do. With the all stars of hip hop, I remember.
Yeah. That's exactly what that was, man. But I'm glad you're here, man, so we can talk because I know we got a short time. But you fell in love with music when Rappers Delight dropped, but you were born in Buffalo and raised in Philly.
Yeah.
How did the different environment shape your musical taste?
Well, primarily as as an adolescent in Buffalo. Well, I was born in Buffalo, lived there till I was 5. And then I used to go there a lot of summers, playing summer baseball like when I was 10, 11 years old. It's different. Like Buffalo's like, even though it's in the state of New York, it's more like the Midwest up north. So it's more like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, different lifestyle. I mean, it's still, brothers and sisters all over the city, but from Philly, like Philly is just like another planet.
Yeah, that's
Philly, when you in Philly, it's like you in Philly, and that's it.
Right,
You're not in, it don't even feel like it's almost like New Orleans, because I lived in New Orleans for a spell or two as well. And New Orleans don't feel like it's the rest of the United States. That's how I feel about Philly. Philly got its own culture. Philly got its own thing. You know what I mean? Own language, own all that. You know what I mean? So, but in hip hop, as far as hip hop is concerned, of course, we got a lot of the things, especially from rap music from New York. So, but Philly always had this chip on their shoulder because we felt like, hey, even though, we right up here with y'all treat us like we the little brothers. Like, no, we got our own thing going on. You know what I mean? So that's where a lot of my vibrato comes from. It comes from being in Philly. It comes from, we a tough city. We gritty. You know what I mean? And we demand respect. I don't care where we at, you know what I mean? So that really has been a big part of my upbringing with regards to the culture is concerned. Just the nature of how Philly is. You dig?
That's right. That's us in a nutshell. That's Philly, right?
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? But as someone who has bridged the gap between the 90s sound and the modern indie music, how do you think today's 2026 artists are honoring the foundational elements of hip hop?
You know what, man? I think it was a spell where, and I think it's partly our fault. Like, I don't think we nurtured these new cats enough. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we gave it gave them the TLC, if you will, that we got coming up. Because you remember, we are the beginnings of the culture. We created this culture, right? So if you go back to when the culture was first created and how the people before us was primarily R&B, but we borrowed a lot of that, a lot of jazz, and I'm strictly talking about the music.
Yeah.
It's an infusion of what hip hop or what rap music is. But we were nurtured properly by the people that came before us. We knew the Temptations, we knew the Four Tops, we knew Stevie Wonder, we knew Earth, Wind and Fire, because that's the music that we heard in our house. That's the music that we were brought up on. And so I don't think we did a good enough job with these new cats. Now, with that being said, I think it's coming back around because there's a generation now. Like, I got young kids. I started late. I got 11 and a 9-year-old. Even though I'm in my 50s, we talking about 2 generations down. Like, they really should be my grandkids. But I think they're getting the nurturing now that the generation, let's say the millennials, didn't get from us. You dig what I mean? So I think there's a resurgence with, with the music and the culture and things like that, and even with the sounds of regions. because there was a time where, you know, it was all convoluted for about 15 years. Everybody wanted to sound like the same thing, whether you was from
Right.
West Coast, East Coast, down. Now I feel like the sound is starting to get separated again, where when you out west, you hear out
Yeah.
west, you know, that out west hip hop.
Yeah.
When you down
Yeah.
south, you hear the downs. And now
Right.
finally, we was the last ones. I think the East Coast, the Northeast Coast is finally getting back to the roots and the culture of the music of what boom bap is. You dig me?
Okay.
And so that I think it's in a good space now. You know what I mean?
Wow, it's funny because you just answered my next question. You just answered it all because you recently worked with Mighty O on beats that feel like pure classic hip hop. And I
Mm-hmm.
was going to ask you, do you think the trend is moving back towards boom bap, or is it trap hybrid production still dominating in 2026? But you
Nah,
already answered. Yeah.
yeah, no. I mean, just to reiterate, man, I think at a time, you know, everybody was trying to, you know what I mean, fit in and just get radio play and all that. But as you can see, you know, we're not even in the Billboard no more as far as hip hop is concerned.
Oh,
So, which is a good thing to me because now it forces us to take it back under, you know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Rekindle that feeling again, you know what I
mhm,
mean? And again, I really want to stress that it was primarily us, and I ain't gonna say, well, even Philly to a certain degree, but
yeah.
I think it was us in the North. I think it was the New Yorks, the Phillies, the Bostons, that you know, even you know, all the way to DC. Well, DC is a different culture too. But
Yeah.
I think we're finally getting back to what our sound is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What it feels like
Yeah.
when you get on 95 and
Feel
you
good
turn on.
music.
You know what I mean? Like we getting back to that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, I mean, I hope so because they had a nice run.
Yes, they did.
the,
Oh,
the,
they had a
the
hell of a
trap
run.
music, they had a nice long run.
Yeah.
So it need to come back around. You
Absolutely.
know, that's amazing because you know many artists today are afraid of not having a major deal.
Hmm.
How has it been an indie artist with control over your own masters change your perspective of on success?
I mean, it really it what being an independent artist is maintaining the hustle. You know what I'm saying? It's understanding that, you know, you got to do twice the work
That's right.
because not only are you an artist, but you're also doing the admin, you're also doing the marketing, you're doing the promotion, you're doing, you know, pretty much what a major label does. And that's the thing that the message that I really want to get across with this question. And I heard my man LaRussell say, and shout out to him, man, because I watched it. I watched that young man's trajectory. He finally gets to deal with Rock Nation. You know, for whatever reason. I think I know what the reason is because he couldn't. He had plateaued. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know, you had, and I guess what his goals and aspirations are, you got to get a bigger machine behind what he was doing.
Right.
But what he did as an independent artist was he operated as a major. He had a team of people. You see what I'm saying? You can't be the artist doing everything. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear people, yeah, you know, I put it up on the DSPs and da 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 da. I'm like, that's cool. If that's your goal and aspiration, and you just want your friends to hear it, then that's cool. But if you seeking something bigger, if you seeking worldwide, no, I don't like to use fame and notoriety, but if you seeking worldwide success, you're
Yeah.
gonna need a machine just like a major
Right.
label has. You're gonna need
Right.
a marketing department. You're gonna need a publicist. You're gonna need promotions. You're gonna need all that.
That's
So
right.
you know what I mean? Like that's the key factor in being an independent. And these are things that I'm even learning along the way. Like it's just me and my wife a lot of times, but now I see that things are building. Now I see there are people that want to get on board and want to help. So it's expanding and it's getting us to where we want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. It's getting us there. How long did it take you to get your masters though? Like how long were you fighting for this?
Oh well, I only did one album under Universal, and so that the only master that they have is Many Faces.
Okay.
So I have, well, let me see, they got two. Live in the 215 never came out, but it was paid for by Universal. So technically, they still own their masters too. But
Okay.
honestly, I don't think they really care about that album. But you know, there's this thing where you have access to your masters after 35 years. And
Yeah.
so I'm coming up on 30. So right now I'm getting my paperwork together just so when the time comes we push the button, we get all that back.
Okay. Okay.
But I have four other albums and will soon be 5 albums with me and D-Dot that are mine. I own the masters, own the publishing rights, own all of that to those. And so, those are the ones that I can manipulate and maneuver how I want. It's just that one Many Faces album and the Live from the 215 album that we're waiting on in order for them, in order for those rights to revert back to me.
Wow, speaking on Many Faces, you just spoke on it. Your album, of course, Many Faces was considered a sleeper. Yet it had a hit with Biggie. Do you feel that the theme being a party hit overshadowed the deeper, more introspective lyrics you wanted to showcase on that debut?
Absolutely. You hit it right on the head, bro. Absolutely. I mean, you gotta remember that's like the first time people had even heard who I was. It was a lot of people didn't even know I was from Philly. You know what I mean? I didn't get a chance. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even get a chance, or the label didn't give me a chance to should I say build the brand. They just threw the record out. The record was so hot that, they didn't even want to give it time to let it. Can you hear me? Oh, they didn't even want to give it time to let it, you know what I'm saying? Let me build up who I am, to introduce myself, to get the story out there. I wasn't attached to anybody. It was me and my college friends, you know what I'm saying? We had our crew was called Power Move, later to be called R&F. We linked up with my brothers from the Bronx, the Reaps, and it was myself, the Reaps, and One Step Beyond. And because we had a pipeline, a connection with Derek D. Angeletti, who also went to Howard, and also Mark Pitts, who was the Big's manager and actually owned the label by storm, who eventually signed me. We had a pipeline into the business, into the industry, and Universal was brand new to hip hop, so they were just looking for records. It was myself, Cannabis, A Plus, Lost Boys eventually came over there, but at Universal as a new label, they was looking for records to throw it up against the wall and see if it stuck. And so the theme stuck. And so with that, in Red Alert, shout out to him. He's the one that really put the stamp on it. I just seen that brother last night at this Biggie event in Atlanta. And he put the stamp. Once he put the stamp on it, everybody else put the stamp on it. But they still didn't know who Trey Lee was. They knew the record.
Your name wasn't ringing yet. So,
exactly.
Hey, this is how we get down with no question. You in the VIP section. Big Sun sipping on French connections. Dashing, decked in the latest fashions. Flashing, spending tax-free cash. 10G stash. Some leaving the club scene smashed.
So, going back to your question, the theme jumped out there so fast and it was so successful that, people didn't really dig into me as a lyricist. They really dig into me as a brand, if you will, and where I came from or what I've done or, what my story was. And so, it's taken this many years, bro, like for people to finally realize, oh, he's a spitter. This ain't the party dude. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You definitely killing it because I watch you, man. You got a whole different type of vibe. You know what I mean? When you out there, you and D-Dot, you got some things coming, man.
Yes, yes, indeed.
if you could remember, what are some of the things you and Big was talking about, man? Like, what kind of jewels Big was giving you?
Oh, man. So Big had been in the business about 5 years prior. I think, well, maybe 6 by then, probably about 91 or something like that. So he had knowledge of what the game was, right? Or what the game is at that time. And so when we in the studio doing Keep Your Hands High, and even before that, like we would get on the horn. Matter of fact, I like to tell this story. Big is he's partially responsible for me getting my deal too, because Mark Pitts is his manager and Mark had to make a decision. Him and D-Dot, Big and D-Dot. D-Dot introduced it. Big listened to the demos. And so Big had been listening to me for about a good 8 months to a year before I even got signed, because Mark would play the demos in the car looking for his stamp of approval. And funny thing is, he told Mark, he said, yeah, your man's nice. Your man's nice, but he coming in number 2 this year. You know what I'm saying? So he had already dropped the gauntlet before we even went and did the record. So me and him, we got on the phone, we talked about what the concept of the record is going to be. And then when we finally get in the studio, before, if anybody don't know Big's process, he don't write things down. He just kind of listens to the music and does this roll, blacks out, but then he jumps into conversations in between time. And so while we got one rolled up and we, you know what I mean, sipping on a little, you know what I mean, he's giving me these jewels about the game. He's telling me what his future aspirations are. He's like, yo, once I fulfill my agreement with Puff, I'm out. Like I'm out. He had already set up things with Un, you know what I mean, and the whole junior mafia thing. He already had a deal lined up at Atlantic and stuff like that. He was gonna get into movies and movie scripts and things like that. So he'd already started building his and he had a clothing line, you know what I'm saying, called Brooklyn Mint. So he was already building his business acumen, even before, he got a chance to break loose. And so he was just telling me about the game, like, nah, Trey, you know, if you want to rap forever, that's fine, you know what I mean? Like, if that's your passion, go ahead. But you better have other things in place and in line, you know what I'm saying? Because the game is going to use you, so you might as well use the game. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So yeah. So I know that was like a great session. I know. And that record didn't really go as as planned. Like go out there in the world as planned, man.
Off that, I preach it, my nine reaches, the prestigious, get to speak this, Willie, flooded pieces, my hand releases, snatches, smacking cabbage, half-ass rappers shouldn't have it, so I grab it, never run, the outcome is usually a beat down brutally of who you be.
Yeah, but I mean, and God rest his soul, because we had things lined up, you know what I mean? Like I was going to open up for the Life After Death tour. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And if that would have happened, then to be honest, I probably wouldn't have been in law school. You know what I'm saying? But God has a way of making things the way it's supposed to be. But we didn't get a chance to shoot a video, none of that. And if all of that would have happened, then who knows? You know what I'm saying?
You signed a deal without fully understanding the business, specifically losing over 50% of your publishing.
Yeah.
What was the exact moment or aha moment that made you pivot to law school to become an attorney?
Once I got dropped, the minute not even the minute I got dropped. When I got dropped, it was almost like, because you got to think, man, this was my goal to be a signed artist since I was 15 years old. Like I remember I used to I went to Girard College, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, me and I had a little crew called the Jazzy Three, and we used to make demos. Now the demos sounded trash, ashy. We used to do it on the dual cassette, John. You know what I mean? It had an instrumental playing, and I was spitting in the mic in the boom box or what have you. But we would take those tapes and we would send them off to Def Jam, send them off to Next Plateau, send it off to Tommy Boy in hopes of getting the deal at 15 years old. And so when I finally made it, that was my lifelong, like that. I had been searching for that. So it took me 10 years to get this thing that I had been searching for, since I was in high school. So when I get dropped, it's like, dang, my dream is shattered. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Now I got a, affinity for sports. So, I thought about doing sports broadcasting. I played ball, I played basketball, played baseball, but those dreams had long gone, you know what I mean, after I got out of high school. So I had to think for 2 years, man. I moved down to Atlanta. I lived with my brother for a second, man. And then, I'm a very spiritual cat. I did a lot of praying. And I want to share this story, too. I went to church. I dropped my last $7 in the pan. You know what I'm saying? This is my last $7. Could have went and got a meal with it, whatever, but I ain't have a gig, none of that. Dropped it in the pan. I said, Lord, I don't know what to do with this. I'm giving, and really it was symbolic. It was like, here's my issues, here's my problem. You take care of that, because I don't know what to do. So a week later, I get a phone call from this cat named Wayne Barrow, who's Mark Pitts' cousin. He helped operate by storm. And so he hits me up like, yo, Universal got a check for you. I don't know how much it is, but they don't have an address for you. You know what I'm saying? So here's this number, call them. I gave him the address, called him up. Week later, I get a check in the mail for $7,000.
Yeah. Wow.
Hold on, there's more. Week after that, I get another check for $57,000. So now we back. So now, and that, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to God, I don't even have these conversations with people no more. I know how my life is set up and what happened for me. So you can't really discuss whether or not it's real or not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So with that, it gave me an opportunity to breathe a little bit. and figure out what it was I wanted to do. So it just dawned on me, man, go to law school. Why? Because of the thing that the very thing that you said. Had I known what I knew then when I signed my deal, I probably wouldn't have signed it. I had a business attorney, had a corporate attorney. You know, he knew some legalities, but he didn't really know the nuances of an entertainment agreement or recording agreement. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of things that he missed. One thing that he missed was the word perpetuity. What does perpetuity mean? It means forever.
Yeah.
I'm not signing nothing that says
I heard of that.
perpetuity in the
I heard that
contract.
word. I heard that
You know
word.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not
Wow.
doing that, you know, in hindsight. So it's just little things like that. So what I wanted to do was, you know, put myself in a position, not only for myself, but for others that's coming up in the game to give them the guidance that I didn't get when I was coming in, you know what I'm saying, with regards to proper representation. So in 2003, you know, took the LSAT, wound up getting accepted at Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is another HBCU. I went to Howard University for undergrad, Southern University for law school, graduated in 2006, passed the bar in 2007, and been a licensed attorney for the last 19 years.
Wow. Now, you know, that's amazing because are you representing any artists right now? Like, do they come to you for help?
Absolutely, man. Matter of fact, another Philly cat, R.J. Payne. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he's an MC. Yeah.
He hot.
So,
he hot too.
Oh, super
He
duper hot. Super. Matter of fact, I was talking to him last week, man. But I represented him on a couple of deals. My man Eric Roberson, who also went to Howard University, probably the prototype of what an independent artist is. Has been an independent R&B singer for the last 20 some odd years. He's been Grammy nominated. I've represented Young Guru, who is the engineer and DJ for Jay-Z.
Yeah, for Jay-Z.
I represented Derek D. Angeletti. I represented Algebra Blessed. I represented a company that that represented Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul. So yeah, there have been a lot of people in this business that I've been able to counsel and help and guide and things like that and negotiate.
Wow, that's wonderful, man. It is. Did you really sell your publishing for $1?
No, I sold it for 10,000, right?
Okay.
But here's my mistake. I didn't keep a copy of the contract. So boys and girls, you sign something, please keep a copy somewhere. Don't depend on your attorney to have it. You know what I'm saying? You get a copy as well. And so my attorney had the copy, but I never got a copy myself. So when we parted ways, you know, I needed a copy of this agreement. So by right, the label is supposed to, you know, distribute a copy to you as well. Yeah. So I went back to them. I said, hey, you know, I need a copy of my contract, the original contract. They're like, sure, we'll send it. I get it back. It's been edited, altered. You know what I'm saying? They whited out like 4 to 0.
They chopped it up.
They chopped it up crazy. You know what I mean?
Wow. So that's where the $1 came.
I went from 10,000 to $1.
To $1. And hey man, this music industry is wicked, man. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Very.
Yeah, wow. You know, you talked about your second album, Live from 215. Was that also produced by Kanye West, the whole album?
No. He did 2 joints. You know what I mean? He did a joint called City to City, and he did another joint called Catch 22, which was co-produced by Chucky Thompson, and God rest his soul. But this, you know, this is straight off the train Kanye. This is before he got to the paper. This is before Rock Nation. So he was super duper hungry, you know what I mean?
That's right.
But he did 2 records. D-Dot did a few records. My man Charlemagne, who else was on that? Coptic, and we had internal producers like my man Parlay, who was a part of my crew. You know, we did it, but Kanye, you know, he definitely blessed it with like 2 records on that album.
I know that album. How can I get that? Like, can I hear it?
Oh, go to TraceyLeeMusic.com, or I can get it to you. It's all on the website, baby. It's all on the website.
I gotta listen to that. I know it's banging. It's banging.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, for the entertainment company, Left Entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the mission behind Left Entertainment, and how does it provide an alternative to current mainstream music and television landscape?
Oh man. Well, our motto is when they go right, we go left. You know what I'm saying? We try to provide, you know, entertainment that is, for lack of a better term, missing. Like, we don't want to saturate the market with things that, you know, may deem to work or is the prototype. We try to come up with innovative ways and concepts and scripts and books and music that is fitting for the audience, but just maybe something that you didn't think about that you needed or that you wanted. You know what I'm saying? So our job is to put it in front of you. You know what I mean? Give you an option. You know what I mean? And not just the same old same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get an option. Give you an option to make that right decision.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Wow, I got to talk about this one, man. What was your reaction when you discovered your collaboration with Biggie was used on Jay-Z's The Black Album without your direct knowledge? Can we talk about that, man?
Yeah, for sure. My initial reaction was, oh man, they used a piece of the record. You know what I'm saying? By him repeating the lyrics and even down to the sample, the whole idea. Because the funny thing is, Jay was in that session with us that night.
Oh, he was there?
That's the first time I met Jay. He was working on The Streets Is Watching. We was at D&D Studios, which is Premier used to run it.
Yeah.
And he was in the studio across the hall doing The Streets Is Watching. And so, of course, because Jay and Big are peoples, Big introduced me to Jay. So it was ironic that he would double back years later, you know what I mean, take those bars and even use the sample, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he flipped it slightly different, but even used the sample, you know what I'm saying? And so at first it was like, oh, wow, yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
Then my next immediate reaction was, yo, did anybody hit up my publishing? Do I get a piece of this?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, for years it was, okay, how do I go about this? Trying to figure out how do I go about this. So I never really pursued it, but I always kept it in my back pocket. And then when it turned into T.I.'s bring them out, you know what I'm saying? That's another derivative that we should be seeing some publishing checks from. You know what I'm saying? And both of those were huge records. You know what I mean?
Can you take them? Well, since you're a lawyer, can you?
Yeah.
Oh, you can take them to court? Okay.
Yeah, I sure could. But
you won't let it go.
But what I decided to let it go because I think there's going to be a time where it will benefit me more than going through the process of trying to pursue whatever money's out there for these particular records. Like, I don't think that's. I mean, God has blessed me in a situation where I don't want for nothing. I don't need for nothing. So I try to weigh out how much time is this going to take out of my life to pursue that for whatever paper that's out there where there's a bigger pot of gold somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? So I'd rather divert my attention over there. You dig me?
Okay. So you just sit on it. Just sit on it.
Yeah, just sit on it. It'll come back around. Just sit on it.
Yeah, and it will. It will. Just trust God. It'll come back. If it's for you, it's going to be for you.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Cool. What is the biggest misconception artists have when they come to you for legal advice?
I would say, because of the nature of the person that I am, I'm very inviting, right? I don't, I've always been like this though, even as an artist. I didn't travel around with bodyguards and none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm very approachable. I'm very like, let's go grab a drink, or very, very personable. So I think a lot of times people take that for granted when it comes to the business. I don't think they have the ability to separate the personal from the business. You know what I'm saying? So when you ask me certain things, I always have to, put the disclaimer out that, okay, I can let you know this, but it can only go so far before we say, all right, we need a retainer. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the misconception. And I take, part in that. I take blame for that because that's just the nature of the person that I am. You know what I'm saying? But, there comes a time in the conversation, if it goes in that direction, where I kind of got to draw the line, be like, I can't do too much, but
too much. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, because now you that's your time now. You're going over.
Yeah. There you go.
Can't do too much.
And the hours are billable. The hours are billable. You dig me?
Right. That's right. Wow, Trey Lee, man, we got to talk about what's next for you, man. You and D-Dot, when the album dropping, I know you're doing music. Like, what's going on with that, with the music?
Oh, man, we had a tentative date for March 13th. Everything is pretty much done. So that is this Friday. But we're going direct to consumer with it first. before we go to the DSPs, and let me reiterate, the name of the album is called Law and Disorder. If you could guess, I'm the law, he's the disorder. And you know, we back to the, not even back, we're maintaining the beats and rhymes. Like, this is a beats and rhymes album. I think you're really gonna get a feeling before you even get to the bars. You're gonna get a feeling first. You know what I'm saying? But I'm super excited about it. Like I said, we had a tentative date for March 13th, but there's a couple of things that we're trying to tweak here and there, so it may get pushed back another week. But, you know, you can look forward in the next couple of weeks. I'll have it all on my social medias, you know, when is the exact date for the base. Like, we're trying to establish a base first before we put it out to the rest of the world, just to solidify. And just so you know, the base includes this Eastern Seaboard from Boston all the way down to Atlanta. Like, again, going back to the sounds again, we want to reestablish our foundation, our sound.
Bring it back.
Exactly. And that's why we're going direct to consumer with it first. We're going to have, you know, CDs. We're going to have vinyl. We're going to have, of course, all the merch, T-shirts, things like that. And we're looking to connect with promoters up and down the coast so we can come to a city near you and give it to you live and direct. You dig me?
That's right. Any good productions, any good producers on the album? I'm sorry, man. Cops.
It's all D-Dot.
Yeah, okay.
It's 100%
my fault. It was the cop. The cops coming. They got the sirens, and it's too loud.
My bad.
Did
See,
you hear that?
That's what I'm saying. I know you from Philly, but you got that going on in the back. You dig me?
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I'm home, man.
That's what it is.
But yeah, I'm sorry. Could we go back to the producers? You said D-Dot doing the whole album, or
100% Derek D-Dot Angeletti. So you know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get that Benjamins, that money, power, respect, that you know what I mean, that can I live, that where I'm from, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get that type of feeling, you dig?
Right, that's dope, man. I want to thank you, viewers. We just had the legendary Tracey Lee. He's back in effect. Watch out for the album Law and Disorder. It's coming real soon. I thank you for that, man. You know, anything you want to say to your fans before we depart?
Yeah, man. Just want to make sure that we stay connected. You can go to Tracey Lee ESQ. That's TraceYleeesq on IG as well as TikTok. You can go to Tracey Lee as far as Facebook is concerned. TraceYlee. You go to my website, Tracey Lee Music. That's TraceYlee music.com. TraceyLeeMusic.com. And yeah, man, let's stay connected. Let's stay connected. It's party time. What's good? This is Trey Lee out of Philly. You know what it is. And right now, you're tuned in, you're locked in to A-Vision Entertainment.